Here are the top stories for today, June 28, 2019. Malacanang says President Duterte did not commit an impeachable offense because he never allowed Chinese to fish in the exclusive economic zone. More local government units are declaring the CPP NPA as persona non grata. PDEA steps up its anti-drug abuse campaign through comic books. And PAGCOR donates more than 800 million pesos for the renovation of the venues for the 30th Southeast Asian Games.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Malacanang defended President Rodrigo Duterte's comments on Chinese activity within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Critics accused the president of not defending the country's territory, which is said to be an impeachable offense. Benj Bondo reports.
Malacanang believes that President Rodrigo Duterte did not commit an impeachable offense because he never allowed Chinese to fish within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone in the first place. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said it was speculative to assume that the Chinese vessel, which allegedly rammed and abandoned a Filipino fishing boat in the Recto Bank, was indeed fishing in the area. Critics, including former Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario, warned that allowing Chinese to fish in territorial waters violates the 1987 Constitution. Del Rosario said Duterte's failure to defend the country's territory, including the EEZ, violates the Constitution and is a basis for impeachment.
Under the Constitution, merong provisions on impeachment. Kung naniniwala sila na may ginawa siyang impeachable ground, o edi mag-file, di ba? But you cannot stop the president from doing measures, steps that to his mind is the correct way to obey the constitutional command to him to protect and to serve the Filipino people.
Panelo said Duterte saw no need to ban Chinese from fishing within Philippine waters. He clarified that Duterte trusts China would not allow their nationals to fish within the country's exclusive economic zone since the two countries consider each other as friends, and that the Philippine government will prosecute the Chinese crew if proven that they were fishing within Philippine waters. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
President Rodrigo Duterte is eyeing the transfer of Agriculture Secretary Emmanuel Piñol to the Mindanao Development Authority to coordinate efforts between the national government and the newly formed Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. The president, in an interview on Thursday, said he needed someone who knows Mindanao well to help him handle the region. Duterte explained that Piñol is the best choice because he was born and raised in Mindanao. He was a farmer and then became a governor. Duterte has emphasized that he wants an effective and well-functioning government in the region, which is necessary to maximize the region's natural resources. In particular, the president cited the Diguasan Marsh, believed to be containing large reserves of natural gas. Piñol was reported to have already offered his courtesy resignation as Agriculture Secretary, but the president has yet to accept it because he is still needed to talk to the BARMM Interim Chief Minister Al-Haj Murad Ibrahim. The country continues to take part in conferences that aim to address the growing threat of climate change. This is manifested in a panel discussion co-organized by the Philippines entitled Fighting Climate Change Through International Solidarity. The event was held on the sidelines of the 41st Human Rights Council session in Geneva early this week. Permanent representative to the United Nations in Geneva, Ivan Garcia, represented the Philippine delegation. He underscored that the country is dedicated to climate action, especially that the Philippines is very vulnerable to the adverse effects of climate change. Garcia added that the Philippine government has already forged partnerships with key stakeholders and established a network of contacts across different sectors, noting that the fight against climate change should be built on inclusivity and solidarity. Government workers are no longer allowed to bring single-use plastics within the offices of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao in Sharif Kabunsuan Complex, Cotabato City. This after BARMM Interim Chief Minister Alhaj Murad Ibrahim issued a memorandum dated June 17 ordering a total ban on the use of single-use plastics effective immediately. Among the banned items include bottled mineral water, plastic cups, instant noodle containers, sando bags, and instant coffee containers, among others. Caterers are advised to place food in containers either made of paper, plant-based wrappers, or reusable plastic containers. Ibrahim said all BARMM officials and employees are enjoined to use reusable containers, tumblers, mugs, and biodegradable food packs to help protect the environment. President Rodrigo Duterte said the Philippine Air Force may take over NAIA if security there will not improve. And actor Mateo Gudicelli has completed a Scout Ranger orientation course. More on this and other news around the metro from Janice Cabe.
President Rodrigo Duterte said if security at the 4 terminals of the NAIA is not improved, the Air Force will take over. Air Force spokesperson Major Aris Galang said they are prepared for any eventuality as this is part of their duty to protect the public. Meanwhile, the Social Security system conducted another run after contribution evaders campaign. 15 establishments in Binondo, Manila were found non-compliant as these were not registered with SSS. It means their employees do not have contribution and will not be able to avail of its benefits. SSS personally issued these show-cause orders against establishments. They were given 15 days to comply or face charges. In other news, retired Baguio Bishop Carlito Senzon died at St. Luke's Hospital in Quezon City on Wednesday. He was 80. Senzon served at the CBCP as chairman of the Commission on Mutual Relations. He was also a member of the Commission on Indigenous Peoples. Senzon's remains will be at the CICM Provincial House in New Manila, Quezon City until Sunday and will be brought to Tabo, Kalinga, and Baguio City before his burial on July 6. Meanwhile, actor and Philippine Army reservist Mateo Gudicelli has completed the Scout Ranger orientation course. Gudicelli was awarded the Military Commendation Medal and was recognized as an outstanding student alongside 97 other graduates who are officers and PNA cadets. Philippine Army Chief Lieutenant General Macairog Alberto reminded the graduates to use the lessons they have learned in the intensive training to become effective leaders and protectors of the country. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Still to come, more local government units declared the CPP-NPA as persona non grata, and a 200-kilowatt floating solar power in Ramon Isabela may expand up to 50 megawatts soon. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ulat sa ginagawa ng Presidente.
June 17, Lunes, Cavite. Iprinisenta kay Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte ang makabago at modernong kagamitang pandagat sa selebrasyon ng 121st anniversary ng Philippine Navy.
Made the acquisition of 2 anti-submarine helicopters and 4 ambitious assault vehicles, emboldened to further strengthen your capabilities to serve our countrymen. It is also my hope that we send off our newly refurbished and upgraded commissioned naval vessels as you remain steadfast in protecting the Republic against all threats in the seas.
June 18, Martes, Malacanang. Nag-farewell call kay Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte ang outgoing ambassador ng Sri Lanka na si Aruni Ranaraha na ginawaran ng Order of Sikatuna rank of Grand Cross. June 19, Miyerkules, Katbalogan, Samar. Binisita ng Commander-in-Chief ang 8th Infantry Division sa Camp General Vicente Lucban at pinarangalan ang mga nasugatang sundalo sa bakbakan kontra New People's Army. Nakiramay din siya sa pamilya ng mga nasawi sa madugong engkwentro. June 22, Sabado, Bangkok, Thailand. Sa courtesy call kay Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte ng mga CEO ng top business groups ng Thailand, ay inimbitahan ng mga ito na mag-invest sa Build program ng kanyang administrasyon. Dumalo ang Pangulo sa 34th ASEAN Summit Plenary na sinundan ng gala dinner kasama ang ibang ASEAN leaders. Bago matapos ang araw, ay nagkaroon pa ng bilateral meeting si Pangulong Duterte at Indonesian President Joko Widodo kasama ang kanilang delegasyon. June 23, Linggo, Bangkok, Thailand. Nakilahok ang Pangulo sa opening ceremony ng 34th ASEAN Summit kasama ang iba pang ASEAN leaders. Sinundan ito ng 13th Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines East Asian Growth Area o BIMP-IAGA Summit. Nagkaroon din ng bilateral meeting sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at Thailand sa paunguna ni Pangulong Duterte at Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha. Ako po si Secretary Martin Andanar at ito ang Duterte on Duty. Abangan sa susunod na linggo ang mga gagawin ng Pangulo.
More local government units are declaring the New People's Army as persona non grata after being enlightened against the lies and deception of the group. AFP Public Affairs Office Chief Noel De Toyato on Thursday said their decision to declare the CPP-NPA persona non grata can be attributed to the communist rebels' negative impact on the growth and business climate of communities. At least 13 LGUs in Region 8 were the latest to declare the CPP-NPA persona non grata. Earlier, Presidential Communications Operations Office Undersecretary Lorraine Badoy said the CPP-NPA has kept the poor poorer and the Philippines in deep chaos. The official emphasized that the communist terrorist group taught people to hate and mistrust against even the most sincere and hardworking public servants. She said the extensive organizational structure of the CPP-NPA and the National Democratic Front has infiltrated all sectors of Philippine society. She said they also feed lies against the government to international organizations to be able to get funding. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana condemns the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army or CPP-NPA as enemies of development following the series of persona non grata declarations of local government units to members of the communist group. Lorenzana explained that the LGUs are now realizing the detrimental effects of the presence of the NPAs in their communities. Specifically, the defense chief pointed out that members of the NPA prevent development by burning equipment and extorting from businessmen. Lorenzana also attributes the downtrend of communist rebels to the activation of Executive Order 70, which created a special task force directed solely to end communist insurgency. The onset of the rainy season has come, but Metro Manila's water supply continues to suffer because of Angat Dam's low water levels. How can Angat Dam's management solve Metro Manila's water situation? Let's find out in today's Business Matters.
Good day, I am Miguel Hill and this is Business Matters. Today we'll be talking about the hottest issue of the day, and I do mean the hottest. Why we don't seem to be getting enough water, especially in the East Zone. That's the area covered by Manila Water. With us today is the new spokesperson of Manila Water, Miss Donna Perez.
Good afternoon, Miguel, and to all the viewers of Business Matters.
How true is it that we need something like 3 or 4 major typhoons in order to get Angat Dam up back to its normal operating depth or level?
Okay, based on our assessment, for us to bring Angat Dam from from the current level of 158 meters to 180, we need at least 2 ondoy levels. Then additional 3 or 4 more heavy rains or habagat for us to fill into the normal level of Angat Dam. Since Saturday, the NWRB already reduced the allocation from 40 cubic meters per second. It's now at 36 cubic meters per second. So it translates to a total of 300 million liters per day of water reduced to us. So what happens now is Manila Water is trying to balance that impact among the 6.8 million people in a zone. So for now, we are implementing longer water service interruption.
What you are saying is that the allocation given to Manila Water is that much lower. Okay, so you can give, you can distribute less water to your clients, your what do you call them, your customers.
Yes, you're right, Miguel. So previously, we're implementing 8 to 12 hours. Now, we're implementing 12 to 17 hours water service interruption. The impact of the reduction in terms of water allocation is evenly distributed to the 6.8 million residents or consumers of Manila Water. We have deployed 33 water tankers to different areas, and our priority are hospitals and dialysis centers. So in the event that there's water interruption and there are hospitals within the area and dialysis centers, that's part of the priority institutions or establishments that we are deploying water tankers. We have released water service interruptions in our website. So we advise people to store water in those hours that we are supplying water to them. In the event that the service didn't come back as scheduled, you may coordinate with us through our Facebook page and our hotline 1627 for us to deploy water tankers to your area.
There's been a lot of mention about getting Angat Dam water from the very bottom part of the dam. I think you call it low. What do you call it?
Low level outlet. Okay.
And of course, maybe people can understand that. So does that mean that you're actually getting the water from the area lower than the critical level?
Yeah, that's right, Miguel. We can illustrate a dam, just like Angat Dam, with that of a big pail. Each level of Angat Dam has faucets. So currently, we're already operating the lower faucet due to its critical level. So when we say we're getting already at the lower level outlet, it means that the Angat Dam is already way below the critical level. And we're expecting that we are getting some silts.
So basically, you are supplying water now that is, well, for lack of a better term, a little dirtier than what was before. So I can imagine you're using a lot more chlorine and a lot more processes to get that water clean.
Yes, that's right, Miguel. Actually, in terms of supply, we are still supplying potable or drinking water based on the Philippine National Standards for Drinking Water. Now, the murky water that we're getting as raw water from Angat Dam is still subject to a very tedious process in our water treatment plant. So you're right, we're dosing additional polymer or coagulant, let it settle for us to provide, and add chlorine, of course, for us to provide that potable water.
So Manila Water is spending a lot more on chlorine and whatever chemicals in your cloud seeding. Is that something that will eventually reflect on the bills of every household?
For now, our water rates or water tariff is fixed for the next 5 years. So this will be discussed in the next rate rebasing exercise.
Okay, thank you very much. And on that note, do you have any message for for our viewers? Some of them may be extremely dismayed because of the inevitable situation.
We are appealing to the customers of Manila Water that please store water for just a day usage in terms of household need. Rest assured, we are trying to supply water as evenly to all our customers in East Zone.
Thank you very much, Ms. Donna Perez, for setting the record straight. For Business Matters, this has been Miguel Hill. Thank you, and good day.
Energy firm SN Aboitiz Power Magat or SNAP Magat may expand its 200 kilowatt pilot solar power project in Ramon, Isabela to 20 megawatts or possibly 50 megawatts in the near future. SNAP President and CEO Joseph Yu said this is the first non-hydro renewable energy project at the company. SNAP Magat invested nearly 24 million pesos for the facility, which is placed over a 2,500 square meter area over the Magat Reservoir. Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi said the potential of floating solar power will benefit not only the company, but will also provide additional power to the country's requirement. The outgoing governor of Bulacan urges the management of Angat Dam to properly handle its reserves. Meanwhile, health officials monitor 12 dengue hotspots in Davao City. More on these and other news from the provinces from Janice Cabe.
In Bulacan, outgoing Governor Wilhelmino C. Alvarado has called on the management of Angat Dam to properly handle its water reserves. Alvarado noted that Bulacan farmers are deprived of irrigation water during summer but are supplied with excessive water due to dam releases during the rainy season. He enumerated plans that could resolve the water crisis, such as the possible construction of a sub-reservoir under Ipo Dam and the holding of water in Umiray, Quezon. In Antique, prices of basic goods and commodities will remain stable even though the province is declared under a state of calamity on June 13 due to extreme heat on crops. The Antique Provincial Price Coordinating Committee said it will not impose the automatic price ceiling on basic goods and commodities as the El Niño phenomenon did not have adverse effects on market prices and delivery of goods. In Davao City, about 937 cases of dengue were recorded in the city until June 2019, with 5 resulting to deaths. 12 barangays in the city were identified as dengue hotspots and will be monitored as most of the dengue cases were found in these areas during the first half of the year. The City Health Office says they are forming an interagency task force to craft a better plan to address the problem. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Up next, outgoing governor of Camiguin is calling for the protection of marine life as the province celebrates its first Camiguin Dive Festival. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
What I'm expecting for the president in our country to focus on this
Would be issues on migration, overseas Filipino workers, because we have a huge stake.
on migration and international labor.
We have millions of Filipinos who practically live outside of our country.
Including in Bangkok and Thailand. Well, free trade is definitely what we need here in this region.
And the Philippines has so much to gain from free trade. And the faster it gets,
The better for us in the Philippines.
This is Secretary Martin Andanon, and you're watching
In Davao City, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency has stepped up its anti-drug abuse and prevention awareness campaign through comic books. About 2,000 copies of comics were distributed by PDEA to the students of Buhangin Central Elementary School on Wednesday as part of the commemoration of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. PDEA 11 spokesperson Nefi Noli Di Maandal said the stories featured challenges, struggles, and the triumphs of former drug dependents told in comic book form. PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino, who launched the PDEA comic, said the material is meant to educate the children and the public on the prevalence of illegal drugs. He hopes the comics would help increase awareness and deepen understanding of the government's initiatives to address the drug problem. In our foreign news, the organizers of next year's Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games are planning to allow spectators to take drinks in plastic bottles into venues. This is to ensure that people stay hydrated and don't suffer from heat stroke, as the coming Olympics will be held at the time of year when Tokyo's temperatures are usually very high. However, the organizing committee is considering limiting the amount of liquids allowed into venues and requiring people to sample their drinks. Spectators have usually been prevented from taking liquids in plastic bottles into venues as part of anti-terrorism measures. The 2020 Olympic Games will be held in Tokyo from July 24 to August 9, 2020, followed by the Paralympic Games from August 25 to September 6. In sports, the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation on Wednesday donated more than 800 million pesos to the Philippine Sports Commission for the renovation of the venues for the 30th Southeast Asian Games. PAGCOR Chairman Andrea Domingo led the turnover of the check amounting to 842.5 to PSC Chairman William Ramirez and Executive Director Merlita Ibay at the PAGCOR Executive Office in Manila. Ramirez said the amount would be used to renovate and restore existing sports facilities such as the track and football field and Ninoy Aquino Stadium at the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex in Manila and the multi-purpose arena at the Phil Sports Complex in Pasig City. He said the PSC will also identify other venues that will benefit from the dole-out from PAGCOR. Camiguin is best known for its dive sites, beaches, and marine life. The provincial government is enjoining its visitors to help in preserving the island's coral reefs and ecosystem. Here is our report.
To preserve the flourishing marine flora and fauna of Camiguin, the provincial government is urging divers and tourists to help them in preventing the destruction of its coral reefs. Outgoing Governor Maria Luisa Romualdo made a call during the opening ceremony of the first Camiguin Dive Festival. She said sea divers play a role in the protection and preservation of Camiguin's marine life. Camiguin has around 30 dive sites scattered throughout the island's provincial waters. About 1 million tourists are expected this year because of the Dive Festival and other regular annual activities in the island, which include the Lanzones Festival and the Panaad during the Holy Week. The 2-month Dive Festival runs from June 23 to August 31 and will showcase various activities such as the Scuba Surero, Fun Dive, dive classes, and underwater photography contest, among others. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Gigi Arcilia Agtay.
Time to check our weather update. Pagaso says monsoon rains will be experienced over Mimaropa, Western Visayas, and over the provinces of Zambales, Bataan, Cavite, and Batangas due to the prevailing southwest monsoon. Metro Manila, Ilocos Region, Cordillera Administrative Region, and the rest of central and southern Luzon and Visayas will be cloudy with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. The rest of the country, however, will have partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers and thunderstorms. The low-pressure area at the east of Guian may develop into a tropical depression within 48 hours. Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's biggest stories.
Malacanang says President Duterte did not commit an impeachable offense because he never allowed Chinese to fish in the exclusive economic zone. More local government units are declaring the CPP NPA as persona non grata. PDEA steps up its anti-drug abuse campaign through comic books. And PAGCOR donates more than 800 million pesos for the renovation of the venues for the 30th Southeast Asian Games.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And before we close for the weekend, we leave you with this quote from Albert Einstein. Weakness of attitude translates to weakness of character. That's a point to ponder on. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.